We're up. We're up and running. All right, we'll give everybody just a second to
Get a few
pop
people to
on
log
if you
on
want.
here.
Yep. If you want to hear all about fasting, pop on.
All right, everybody. Good morning. 10
Morning.
o'clock here in good old Michigan, and it's week 2 with Coffee with the K's. We just want to get into our next topic, our next trending topic for 2018. And of course, we picked ones that we have a personal opinion on because it's something that we actually apply to our own lives.
Right.
So there happen to be trending topics right now, but it's actually stuff that we do and that we think can be beneficial to a lot of people and help people with their general health. So we just wanted to go over those today.
Yes. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about intermittent fasting. And
Good old fasting.
This is a topic that scares a lot of people. They hear no food, they say no way. Don't panic, we don't want you to go anywhere. We want you to hear it, and then you can decide from there. So what is fasting? Fasting is really going a period of time without food. It's very simple. Today we're talking about fasting and going a period of time without food for the purpose of improving your health.
An optimal fast, a fast that you were
Yes.
using to improve health. And we're talking about a complete fast. We're talking about no food. It's not a juice fast. It's not a bone broth fast.
There's
It's
lots
a
of ways to
complete
do it,
fast.
but we're talking today about going without food for a period of time.
Now, there's lots of reasons to do a fast. Usually the first one is weight loss, okay? But we want your mindset to completely be based on health and improving health.
Exactly.
That's the mindset you need to have going in. It can't be just weight loss because you will gain back a percentage of that.
Yes, that is one thing that is really important. That's a common misconception with fasting is people go in and they say, I am going to drop pounds and I'm just not going to eat for 5 or 6 days or a week. And that's not the whole goal for this. You have to really switch your mentality into thinking, I am going to set myself up, I am going to get healthy, I'm going to change some things, and go into it without thinking about weight loss, because weight loss is just a good side effect of fasting. It's not the whole purpose of
No.
it. You have to think too that fasting is really truly about tearing things down. It's not necessarily just about your immunity and boosting your immunity. It's about the breakdown within the body.
Yeah. So when we think about fasting, I want everyone to understand there's a great book out there called The Complete Guide to Intermittent Fasting by Dr. Jason Fung and Jimmy Moore, and he explains it extremely well. So what he does is he's talking about a remodel. He's talking about what do you do in a remodel. When you watch your favorite shows, Fixer Upper, Flipper Flop, what do they
Love
do
those.
when they're going to gut that kitchen? They remove the cabinets, they strip the walls, they break down the drywall, and then they can rebuild. You can't put new cabinets on top of old cabinets. You can't paint over wallpaper. You know, you just can't do it that way.
No.
That's not the goal. You can't just throw a ton of good at something bad and hope that it's going to turn into something good. You have to strip it down bare. Okay, you have to get down to the studs, and that's what fasting does. It is a stress on the body. It is a stress, but it's a good stress. Your body is programmed to handle that stress, and it actually decreases it. It just kind of shuts everything down, gets rid of all the bad, and gets your body ready to rebuild.
Exactly. So you have to remember that. I'm going in, I'm breaking it down because then I'm going to build new. You cannot go into it just, you definitely can't paint over wallpaper. I see that comment. That is right. I've seen houses that do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
You gotta take it down. But that's exactly what it is. The mentality is, I am taking this down, I'm gonna strip it bare, and I'm gonna build on top of it. I'm gonna build new, something
Setting the
better.
stage for something even better.
Exactly.
So who should do it? Who should do it, and why you should do it?
Lots of people should do it. If you don't feel well, that's really a signal.
That's signal number 1.
If you don't feel like you're at optimal health, then you should try incorporating fasting.
Yeah, you should really try to get into that intermittent fasting. So main thing, I mean, if you're a type 2 diabetic, if you're obese, if you have fatigue, if you have autoimmune issues, if you have brain fog and you just don't feel crisp, you don't feel clear, these are, and you're just not getting a lot of answers in specific maybe treatment methods that you're trying, you need to try a little intermittent fasting. Okay, you need to really strip things down bare and rebuild. It's not one of those things that's just, and there's lots of different ways to do it, but it's not one of those things that's as crazy as it sounds. It's been around forever. The only difference, the reason why it's new, the reason why it's trending, the reason why people are doing it is we're now figuring out a lot of the benefits, why it's good for you, what really does happen inside the body that causes your body to actually get to that optimal state through fasting.
Yes, and we're going to tell you what happens in the body when you do fast. So one of the things is it is placing stress on the body. So a lot of times we think, well, that's not a good thing. There are good stressors there are things that you can do to the body that stress it, but what they do is they cause it to just build up, get stronger, and adapt.
Yeah.
And this is one of those really good stressors. It will place stress on the body, and then you're gonna come out so much stronger. So that's one of the really good benefits about it. The next thing is it is a growth control. So a lot of times, we think growing is such a good thing, but there are circumstances when we want to halt growth. For example, cancer is an overgrowth. Polycystic ovarian, that's an overgrowth. We've got endometriosis. These are all problems.
A lot of inflammation is due to overgrowth.
Exactly. These are all problems within the body you have a growth problem that has just kind of gone haywire. So what we do is we control that by taking away the nutrients, and then your body is forced to break down the excess growth, the old proteins, the old bad toxins, things that are within there, the old cells. It forces it to then break it down and control that growth. So it can be a means of...
So it gets rid of the good stuff, but it gets rid of the bad stuff too.
Exactly. It can be a means of prevention for that, but it's also a great thing to incorporate if you are facing some of those things. It's a great additional treatment for that as well. The other thing is gut healing. So there was a study done about rheumatoid arthritis and intermittent fasting, which I just love the study, but I don't know how many people they had, but it was quite a few people, and they measured their...
I think it was 24 women.
Was it 24 women?
Yeah, I think
okay, so. It might have been 24 women. But they put them on an intermittent fast for 20 days, and they had rheumatoid arthritis, and they measured their markers before, and they all had it, and then they measured them after the 20 days, and nobody had markers for rheumatoid arthritis. And there's a lot of people that are talking about that study, and they're saying it maybe wasn't necessarily that fast, exactly, that fast that did it. It was the benefits, the side effects that came with that fast, which was you were not eating and you were able to heal your guts.
Most autoimmune things, really the research now is guts, right? Everything guts. The guts is directing.
Look to the guts.
Obviously that makes a lot of sense because we know, our guts is the first place our food goes. So we put bad food in, it's going to affect the guts, and then it goes everywhere from there. So a lot of these things that we just can't find answers to, it starts in the guts. Now it's hard to figure that all out, but what a great way to restart your guts by cutting off the supply and letting it heal and rebuild.
Exactly. And then you talked about the visceral fat.
Well, visceral fat too. Another great thing of fasting is it attacks visceral fat. Visceral fat is the fat around that midwaist, around your organs. The bad fat, the leading cause of diabetes, the leading cause of heart disease, the leading cause of stroke. The killer, that widow's maker. It is just not a good type of fat, and it attacks that. It wants to break down those proteins. It wants to reduce that from the body. So that's just another positive.
Yes.
Now, with fasting, there's lots of periods of time of fasting. People can do a 30-day fast. People can do a 16-hour fast, whatever it is. Last week, if you look back at our video about ketogenic, and we talked about reasons why we like it, because it kind of keeps your metabolism revved up at a good rate, whereas low calorie will reduce that metabolism. And you say, well, you talked about that being an important issue to you. What about fasting? Isn't that going to just put you into starvation mode and just ruin your metabolism? No. Okay? Low calorie, which I am very down on low calorie because it's just not sustainable and it just doesn't work. It only values calorie as an energy. It doesn't value it as a health. Okay? And that calorie does have a health quality to it. All calories are not equal.
No.
They're equal in energy, but they're not equal in how your body uses them, okay? So everyone needs to understand that. That is kind of an old system. It's not new. I know people flip out when they hear that, but it really just isn't. You have to understand the health of what you're eating and not just the energy consumption, okay? So
not that simple.
So basically, low calorie, if you're at, let's say, normal metabolic rate, and you eat at this level all the time, your body is revved up at that level. If all of a sudden you just start reducing calories because you want to lose weight, which will cause you to lose weight, your metabolism will go to that level. It's not stupid. It doesn't all of a sudden rev up at a rate, and then as you drop the food supply, it's going to still rev up at that rate. It just wouldn't do that, okay? The body's very smart. It adapts as the food shrinks, as it's in excess, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So then when you go back to eating a normal calorie amount, all of a sudden you gain weight twice as fast because your metabolism isn't at that level anymore. Well, you say, well, what about with fasting and your body goes to 0 calories and you're not eating anything? Your body has a great system of adapting and switching fuel sources, right? So your body is going to now find a different food supply. So when it finds that different food supply, that different fuel supply, and it's breaking down ketones and it's doing other things, now it's got a surplus. It's like, wait a second, I found all this other stuff I can use for energy. You're going to be revved up at that same level that you were when you started the fast. Plus, it kicks in noradrenaline, norepinephrine, same thing, to boost your energy. Once you get past that 3rd day or 2nd day when your appetite is just really you're really hangry because your ghrelin kind of peaks at 2nd day, 3rd day for most people. Yeah. By 4th, 5th day, it's gone. And now all of a sudden you have this energy that's just you never had before, and you're not eating anything, but your body has switched over and it's ready to go.
So you have to remember, if you're doing low calorie, you know, if you go down to 500, your metabolism will shrink to meet it.
It will follow.
So you got to be really, really careful about messing with the calories and going with that. There are times when we are eating just like a ridiculous amount of calories and we're losing weight. So, and people are like, what? I don't get it. Some of this stuff, you guys, some of this research that's coming out is truly amazing, but it is challenging our mentality and the way that we've been thinking for so long. So you kind of just have to be like open and just really do the research and get into it, because it's good stuff.
Yeah, like think about, I want you guys to understand, like, what do you mean by that? Like when you're taking calories in and you're still in a fast, but we said you can't do food, you can't do juice, you can't do bone broth, things like that. So right now we're doing our bulletproof coffee, right? Our bulletproof coffee has brain octane, has MCT, it has fat, it has calories. Fat has a lot of calories, but fat isn't recognized as food.
No.
And then I think that's, you know, Crystal's favorite line, really. But it's one of those things that we're actually still in probably about a 16-hour fast right now. We stop at 7. We won't eat again. But our body does not see these exogenous ketones as fat or as food. So we are still in that fasting state. If you're kind of leaving insulin alone, which only carbs, proteins, things like that are going to cause that insulin to kind of move, then you're going to stay in that fasting state.
Yeah. So one of the things, though, that is a really big problem with people that fast is they come out of the fast, they say, okay, I'm breaking the fast today, and I am going to make up for lost food. I'm going to eat everything that I did not eat in 5 days, and I'm going to eat it all in 1 day. Yeah. That's wrong. You are completely, you're ruining all of the benefits that you just received from the fast. It is not healthy. You cannot come out of a fast with the mindset of binge eating. Yeah. That's why you have to kind of change your mindset when you're going into the fast, that it is not just about food, and it's about what I'm doing inside of my body.
It's setting the stage.
It's setting yourself up
for that improvement in health, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a reward for sacrifice. It's not, I'm going to have a big, large pizza because I went 2 days without food. Yay, hooray for me. It's setting the stage for you to transition to that healthy lifestyle, okay?
See, your body just broke it all down, and it's like, it's got that growth hormone, and it's like, I'm ready. Now give me something good when you break it so that I can then start to rebuild and repair. And you come out of that broken, everything's broken down, and you just bombard yourself with sugar and just garbage, and it's like, you just did it all again.
I mean, talking about the remodel again, when as soon as all of a sudden you've stripped everything down to the studs, you can't just slap and go and throw some drywall and then paint over the drywall. You gotta put the drywall up, you gotta finish the drywall first, then you can paint over the finished drywall. You gotta go in the steps, okay? So you still wanna make sure that you're giving your body healthy things in a healthy way when you come out of that fast. Otherwise, you might as well not have wasted your time.
Yeah, it kind of completely negates all that work that you just did.
Yeah.
So don't do that. Don't binge. Of course, there are people that should not fast. And one of the things, if you are at a healthy weight where you should be, you don't want to fast. And the reason is you can become malnourished. And when you become malnourished, your body is very smart, and it will say, shut things down. And for women especially, it'll say, you cannot have a baby right now because you don't have the nutrients coming in, and it will just start to really lower your fertility. It'll mess with your hormones. It starts to just shut things down.
There is an exception to that rule, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay, so you want to be really careful with that, especially for women, but we can talk about how to kind of overcome that. And if you are pregnant, you do not want to do any kind of fasting because you want that growth. That's the time you're at a period in your life where you want the growth.
You want the nutrients. You want everything. It's a period of time. It's not you're not going to be pregnant forever. You're going to be pregnant for this little period of time, and your body is built to take in everything and pass it through and give it to who it needs to give it to.
Exactly. And nursing, same thing.
Same thing with nursing.
You don't want to fast when you're nursing. But
so if you are at a normal weight and you're like, I'm at a normal weight, but I don't feel well, I do have some of these issues, well, you have to do a short fast, okay?
Yes.
Well, we're talking about like 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, maybe 24. It's an intermittent fast into your routine. It's not a 4-day fast, so that you actually can start breaking things down, but you want to shrink that down because there are some weird things that can happen, and so you're going to minimize that. So you do a shorter fast. So there are little hacks to that if you are at a good weight and you don't want to do a long fast.
But you still need some of the benefits. So how do we do it? On a daily basis, we basically fast daily, and so do you without realizing it. You do fast for a certain amount of time because you go through the night and hopefully you're not eating.
Right.
You don't wake up and eat.
Yeah.
You are going through a period of time where you're not eating, you are fasting, and you're not realizing it. It's good. But we go very specifically 7 p.m. and we don't eat again, like he said, until 12:15. We're trying to go at least 17 hours within a day without fasting. Now, our jobs are physical, and we need the energy, and you might need the energy as well. That's where you do the bulletproof intermittent fast, and we love that because it will give you that fat in your coffee first thing. Your coffee kind of helps to rev up that metabolism.
Just makes you feel a little bit better.
The fat will give you the energy. You don't have some of that crazy hunger that you get when you're fasting. I saw somebody talking about that they're just hungry when they fast. This will help you if you can incorporate it, and you can do it multiple times within the day. You just want to be careful not to overdo your caffeine intake because then you're not going to sleep at night. So
Right.
you can wind up doing some decaf or even put it in tea. But if you just continue to give yourself fat, you have the energy, and that fat, especially for women, will protect you against having some of those weird hormonal issues, and it'll really give your thyroid a boost and a protection. That's why I like to make sure that I really get the fat in there, and I'm not just cold turkey, but you can do that as well, which is fine. And then within every few months or so, we will do a few day fast, just to kind of keep it. I mean, we are doing these things for wellness, for just like optimal health. We don't have anything that we're facing, any problems that we feel. We just like to feel good, and I just want my quality of life to be good. So that's why we do it.
So that's the other thing too, is try it. Okay, don't be nervous about it. Try it. Even if you fail at it, you can try it again. You can build off of it. If you do a day fast, then maybe you'll do 3 days, 4 days, and maybe you can go beyond that at times if you really have things that you're struggling with. We want to be an advocate for you. Sometimes you do need to deal with a health professional, deal with a coach. We're obviously here. Dr. Szyminski's here to help you out. We want you to have the best 2018. But here's the most valuable thing about fasting. Okay, it's been around for thousands of years. It's free. Okay. You can implement this into your life right now. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to money. You don't have to go anywhere. This is something that can be a tool, can be a resource for you to try to implement into your own life to see if you notice benefits from it. If you don't, that's fine.
There are all kinds of fasts, you guys. All kinds of fasts. It just depends on what your goals are. For example, bone broth fasting, it's going to technically break a fast, what we're talking about, an intermittent fast. It's going to break that because of the proteins, but there are times where there are benefits. There might be certain things that are your specific health goals that bone broth fasting is going to be great for you. Or juice fasting, I'm not. You
gotta be careful with the sugar in juice fasting.
But it depends on what your goals are, and that's where somebody can help you. I can always help you. That's where somebody can help you to really find what works for you and what's best for you, so that you're not suffering while you're fasting, because it doesn't have to be that way.
And try to really get past that second, third day when you are like, man, I feel terrible because your body is programmed to drive that appetite to really make you kind of angry, and then it goes away. Okay, then your body's ready to release it. So we just hope that this was some good information for everybody. You can use it yourself right now.
Don't set yourself up for failure, though.
No.
Don't say I'm going for 21 days because of that research article if you just ate a large pizza yesterday. You're not going to succeed. Like, it's just not possible to do that. So don't do that to yourself. Just start slow. Start like we do with the 17 hours. I'm going to go from
there's a lot of good information out there that can kind of help you along, too, like the book I mentioned earlier. It's just great resources for you to kind of really understand it, dive deep into it, and be like, man, this is something I can do. It doesn't cost you money. Actually, you're going to save money because you're not going to be buying groceries.
Exactly.
So it's something that you can add in. Now, we just want to make sure, remind everybody, watch our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Instagram and Facebook. We hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Share it if you feel like there's somebody that, you know, has these weird symptoms. Share it with them because it's amazing how many people don't know that these things are out there. So you might be able to help somebody. It might be just what they needed.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're hoping that everyone's going to have a great 2018. We're going to be back next week at 10 o'clock in the morning with another trending topic.
Yep.
So we just want to say thanks. Enjoy your coffee.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Bye, guys.